My name is Yoshi Tanaka. I was born and raised in Tokyo, Japan, and I moved to Oahu when I was 15 years old, and since then I'm here. What got me into photography was when I moved here, there's basically a ohana that used to take care of me, or still is, my Hanai family. And so my Hanai brother started surfing, and then I swim out with him, and he's a townie, so I swim out with him and I just bring my GoPro Hero 3 Black. It was, I believe, and that's how originally started in Hawaii. However, when I was in Japan and living with my parents, my father had Nikon F4, which is a film camera, kind of legendary film camera. And I started messing with that thing, and I used to take a little bit of film photos, however, not too much, so it was just a playing around kind of deal. However, when I moved to Hawaii, that's the photography and taking photos hit me a little bit differently because of this paradise we have and beautiful nature, landscapes, and people that we have on this island of Hawaii. And yeah, it just hit differently. So my first DSLR camera was Nikon D610, which was secondhand used, and it came with the SPL housing, and that's the first camera that I owned. And it was basically a luck and coincidence, I shall say. It's because I saw one Instagram post that this person from California was selling his DSLR and his housing, and I'm like, whoa, okay. And at that time I only had a GoPro 3 Black, like I said, and 4, and I'm like, maybe I should upgrade my camera because I'm kind of into this photography world and as a hobby at that time, but I was like, maybe I should upgrade my camera so I can take maybe better pictures, who knows, but try to experiment. So Nikon D610 was my first camera that I owned, and I'm a Nikon person, so I only know how to use Nikon, and I know there are so many good things about other companies' cameras, other brands, but I want to stick with Nikon, so I only have used Nikon cameras. What made me keep pursuing my photography was and is basically my target mission, why I take photos. I take photos, it's because I would like to preserve what we see right now at the present moment and then pass it down to a future generation. And then my photos have deeper meaning other than just, oh wow, it's really beautiful, it's gorgeous, sunset, sunrise, blue ocean, mountains, rainbows, But what I want to hit as a silent message through my photos is basically, what can you do to preserve this view eternally, and then pass it down to keiki, future generation kids, and they get to see the same view that we saw maybe 100 years ago, and 2 centuries ago or whatever. I just wanted to pass it down, those kind of scenery that we see, to future generations, so that they will think the same thing, I hope. So basically that is what I started thinking through my photos. What shall we do, or what can we do in order to save this beautiful aina through my photography? So basically, like I say, I was born and raised in Tokyo for 15 years, and right after finishing my junior high school, I just basically wanted to live in the United States, learn how to speak English, and play baseball. Because back in the days, I used to be a full-time baseball player, and I played up to collegiate level, fortunately. And I just wanted to pursue that career, so I just moved here without knowing any English whatsoever. I'm still working on it today's day, but that was the first motive. And I gradually started not shifting, but do water sports simultaneously with baseball. Therefore, I guess just the motivations and the motive from when I was little, I always wanted to go to the United States and learn the culture, learn the language. So that was my reason why I'm here today, and then pursuing what I'm doing today.
Cool.
Yeah.
So tell me about your first water housing. Like what made you want to transition from, you know, just taking photography to seeing people in the ocean and, you know, eventually thinking like, okay, I think I want to start getting water and start, you know, doing water photography, surfing and stuff. So explain to me. Okay.
So transition from the GoPro housing to transition from GoPro to my water housing was really huge. And why I wanted to have the housing is because simply I thought I was really cool, and I was always curious, how is it like to have a big digital camera in the water, and you can mess with all those kind of settings and take photos at your own timing, not just press one button and then burst 30 photos in 1 second. I know it's cool, but I was just curious, always curious and jealous of people who had a housing, and then always curious, like, oh my goodness, what can I do with this digital camera that GoPro cannot do, such as, you know, zooming, different lighting settings, more, you know, lots of varieties that you can think of. And when I got the water housing, it was mind blown that how heavy it was, and how you have to swim with one hand, one arm, and take those kind of big waves, you know. So it's like, uh-oh, I need to practice this. But I guess the motive was like, I just always curious to pull the trigger, press the button at your own timing, and then just, you know, slow everything down, and then okay, all right, then I can maybe burst, who knows. But I guess there are lots of, the depth of field that you can do with the SPL housing, that really motivated me to get the housing. So my first experience with that housing, I still remember, I finished my work and I just went straight to the beach in North Shore, which was during winter time. So I was like, okay, maybe I can do this. And then probably like 45 horn scale wave came through at shore break, and I was having that housing camera for the first time ever in North Shore. So I was literally getting nervous and started tripping out in the water. I'm like, uh-oh, I'm gonna get beaten up, and poof, this wave crashed right in front of me. And I had a leash with my, you know, attached to the housing, but and I was holding the camera from the handle. However, it's just my hand came off, and then like camera was dingling in the water. I'm like start panicking in the water and I almost lost it. And then I don't know how many times I flooded that housing. Actually, it's because you have to screw it down on the front side for the SPO housing, and you know, who knows, sometimes it just comes loose and just have that little tiny space the water could go through, and it was like just partially flooded. So I had to fix my camera like, I don't know, multiple times, and I went through some tough times, but that was my first experience with my water housing. Favorite moments in the water? To be honest, the moment that you put your foot or feet into the water, and then the moment that you come out of the water, and then you touch the sand, or I touch the sand and water, and say, mahalo kia kua, and always a blessing to be in the water. It's a getaway, and I feel like that's how it should be for everybody. For like whoever go into the water. Yeah, it just, but one of those moments that I absolutely love is people just simply having fun. People simply having fun and like just have that stoked face on them. Or I would say when I'm stoked, I'm happy, and like I see some of the just magical moments, empty barrels, people are getting barreled, doing some spray, even body surfers catching those big waves, taking off from the top of the lip and just going down. And then whenever I see those stoked moments and exciting things happening, that's what thrills me, amazes me, and amuses me. But essentially, the moment that I touched the water, and then the moment that I came out of the water and turned around, said mahalo to actually the land that provides all of this, you know, beautiful water, swell, current. That's what I most like appreciated and thrilled and excited about the moments that me being in the water.
That's
Yeah. Okay, so 5 favorite all-time photos. Oof, that's a tough one to choose from. But what I can think of on the top of my head is, first one is, or was, a rainbow over Waikiki, basically. And I was like just a misty morning, and I just drove down to Waikiki, see if there's waves, and then it started drizzling. I was like, okay. So I just flew drone over Waikiki, Queens break, the surf break, and I just captured this perfect double rainbow that covering Waikiki. I believe it was over Royal Hawaiian Hotel. That was just, you know, one of those majestic Waikiki mornings, and that was the first one. And second one, let's say another drone shot. It was again at Waikiki, and then during a sunset time, you know, depending on the sun's angles and direction, sometimes you get to see rainbow over Leahi, which is Diamond Head. And again, I just came down to Waikiki to see sunset and then maybe take photos with my digital camera. But I just flew my drone instead, and then I saw one strip of rainbow, and then have one of the catamaran in front of Waikiki Beach underneath, and then it was just perfect lighting, like clouds are orange and, you know, waters were blue, really calm and everything. And then it was just, composition was just majestic. Yeah. And then the third one, let's say, I believe it was when I swam out to Banzai Pipeline. One of the first times I swam out, I just saw just really westerly swell just hits like perfect angle, and then I was happened to be like in a perfect position and just capturing those big empty barrel that's just rolled through perfectly and then just spit right in front of me. And I'm like, whoa, that would just hit me different. So I chose that photo. Fourth one, again, it was at Waikiki Beach, canoes break. I was flying drone and I just happened to be there again. And all those surfer girls are catching one wave, this party wave, just catching straight. And I forgot how many people were on the same wave, but like maybe 8 people were catching a wave at the same time. And it just shows the stoke and that moment that I like to see, like just being there and being happy about it and just enjoying the ocean and just forget everything else that's going through your life, you know? And then that's why I love that photo. And lastly, I'll say a photo from 2019, I believe, April, and it was weird swell. As you guys know, if it's during April time, like, you know, South Shore has more waves. However, like there's a weird swell that came through in North Shore, and then again, I was just happened to be there, and I caught this one photo of the surfer. I don't know who that surfer was. I wish I knew. But during the winter time, the sun goes over Kaina Point, which is like right by Mokulea, and then go over the mountain range. However, during the summertime, sun shifts a little bit towards the horizon. Therefore, sun was just lighting up the wave from the backlit. And I was just flying the drone facing out of the ocean horizon, and then this surfer was catching nice A-frame barrel, and I was like, oh my god, like this is unbelievable. And then this color was perfect, orange, like red, pink, and then wave was like, you know, green, bluish color, and I just, you know, lost words. I was speechless when I saw that, you know, image that came out, and then I saw it on my computer screen. So that was my favorite one. Yeah. Okay, so my water housing is from Aquatech imaging solution. I have Nikon DA50 inside, and it's actually a housing that came out recently, which is a reflex housing. And I have a GoPro Hero 8 Black on top of it as for a video. And that's how I always switched from Nikon D610 to Nikon DA50. Go around, all-time lens is 24-70. That's the lens that I use most. It just captures from wide angle to zoom, and then I take this lens. I take portraits with this lens, and I use the most in the water, outside of the water. It's just a great lens. Its aperture is 2.8, so it's just good with, you know, somewhat dark lighting situations, environment. So that's what I like to use pretty much all the time. And I don't know, I haven't took off this port for a while, so I should take it off and clean it up. But yeah, I really appreciate everybody's support and love for supporting my photography journey, and I hope that my message that I mentioned earlier will hit you in your heart one day, and then you started thinking about preserving the nature. And you know, hopefully it's our mission, not just my mission, but it's everybody's mission to keep this island cleaner than before you came. And that's how you perpetuate this island and culture and this land that we have. All right, mahalo.